you? I hope you are fine. I hope you are okay. Today, me, Mr. Megan, in front of you here in your camera, and I'm so happy to be appearing in your little screen too. And I have here with me Mr. Ahmed. Hello, Mr. Ahmed. Good evening.
Mr. Majid.
How are you?
How are you? I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm so great. Thank you so much. And we've been talking about many tenses, many different tenses before. We've been talking about the present simple, we've been talking about the past simple, the future simple, the present continuous, the past continuous, and the present perfect simple, and the present perfect continuous. And today, inshallah, we're just going to continue our speaking or our tackling about the tenses. Last time, if you've missed our video, we've been talking about the present perfect.
Present perfect.
Yeah, the present perfect
continuous.
Continuous. Yes, we've made a comparison between them. I welcome who are seeing us here. I'm really glad that you joined our video, and please keep tuned because today we're going to speak about the past perfect simple. Yeah, I'm going to leave you with Mr. Ahmed here. He's going to give you an introduction and tell us the uses of the past perfect simple.
Oh yes. Now, as Mr. Majid just mentioned, we've been talking about tenses, English tenses, so far because they constitute the base for other things in English. We've talked about the present simple, the present continuous, the future simple, the future, I think we did not mention the future continuous. We talked about the future simple.
Yeah.
We talked about the past simple and the past continuous. Then we moved to the present perfect and the present perfect continuous. Today we're going to talk about the past perfect. And the past perfect, just like the present perfect continuous, is not really complicated. It's easy. The uses and the form of it both are easy. The form is easy, and the use, we're going to talk only about one use of the present, of the past perfect simple. And seeing that we are talking about the present, the past perfect simple, and that it is easy both in terms of form and use, we're going to talk about, we're going to give you an overview about the passive voice, because some people mentioned it before, and I think that we can, yes, here, I would like to be a teacher, please change into passive, yes. Yeah. So here, we're going to talk a little about the passive voice. We're going to give you an idea about it, just an overview about the passive voice, how we form it, and the uses of the passive voice, yes. Now, I'm going to write the tenses that we have covered so far, and they are, and please remind me if I forget any. The first tense we talked about was the present simple, and we talked about kinds of verbs. When we talked about the present simple, we talked about kinds of verbs, and we said that we have what we call linking verbs, and we gave an example with verb to be. And we talked about the other verbs, and we said that we call them content verbs, and we gave examples with other verbs. The present simple, we talked about our daily routine, the use of the present simple to talk about things that happen repeatedly, like the daily routine. Then we moved to the present continuous. The present continuous to talk about things that we do now, like at the time of speaking. The third tense we talked about was the future. The future, or the forms of the future in English, and we said that we can use will, we use be going to, and we use the present continuous to talk about the future in English. The fourth tense was the past. Now we move to the past simple, and we said that we have two kinds of verbs. We have regular verbs to which we add ed in the past, and irregular verbs that change their form, and they have to be remembered thus. The fifth tense, I think, was the. Then we move to the present perfect. Present perfect. Now we talked about the present perfect simple, and we saw many uses of it, and we said that the one that we focused on was the present perfect to talk about life experiences, like I've been somewhere, I've been to England, for example. Then we moved to the present perfect continuous. Present perfect continuous. I think here we talked about the past continuous, past simple, and past continuous. So that is the fifth. So we have the present, the past simple, and the past continuous. Then the present perfect simple, the present perfect continuous, and the eighth tense is today's tense, which is the
This is going to be the past perfect simple.
Simple.
Yeah.
It's easy to use. Now we're going to give examples of these just to illustrate and to show you the uses of the present.
Yeah, so
the past perfect.
alright, so let us. Here we have this written comments here. We have Hima Sharma. Hi, hello. And Amber Javad, hello. Hello, Omar. How are you? I'm fine. Thank you so much. Hello. Alright. So, alright. So right now we're gonna
let's first give examples.
Yes, of course.
So just to show them, because here okay, we said that the fifth was the past continuous.
Continuous tense, yeah.
The past continuous.
Yes.
Now let us give examples. So just to show you how easy is the past perfect simple. Like I'll give examples here. With the past simple, for example, when I came home. When I came home, my mother. Is it clear on the board?
Yeah, it is.
My mother made dinner, let's say. And here, when I came, let's say when I arrived, let's use arrived. When I arrived home, my mother, the verb is make, so the past continuous was making dinner.
Yes.
And here we're going to say when I arrived home, my mother had made dinner. This is the form, it's easy as I told you. Now Mr. Majid is first going to tell you I think you're going to guess the uses from these three examples.
Yeah.
You're going to tell us about the uses or the use and the form
Of the
of the past perfect.
Yeah, but okay, so here we have a star. Starlight, good morning, dear teacher. Good to see you again. Good to see you again here, Star too. Hello, dear. Hello, Rahimullah. Benjamin, hello, welcome back. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, today we're just going to make a quick view as Mr. Ahmed is showing you in the board here. We have many different tenses that if you have been familiar with them, if you knew them well, so it is easy for you to express more flexibility or to be more flexible to express yourself in English. For example, here the present simple and the present continuous tense, the future, the past simple, and all of these tenses, they're so important for you to learn and so important for you to know. So, and if you missed one of our videos, we've been talking about all of them, each one of them in a separate video. and it is maybe covered. We took an hour or an hour and a half.
More than an hour.
Yeah, more than an hour. So we've been talking about each and every single detail of each and every one of the tenses in front of you here in the board. So please, if you're not familiar with one of them, or would you like to know more about that tense, okay, you can go back and watch our videos on our YouTube channel, which is Learn English with Megan and Ahmed, or also on our Facebook page, which is the same name, Learn English with Megan too. So today, Mr. Ahmed, I think we're going to talk about the past perfect simple. So that past perfect simple, from its name, that it is talking about a past action, an action that happened and ended too. But imagine, let us imagine together that is the timeline, all right? And that's the past. We're gonna deal with the past here. From its name, it is expressing the past. If you have two actions, for example, one action, you have an action that happened and is followed by another one, and both of them happened. Yeah, for example, here, when I arrived home, so which one happened first? Let's continue the students. My mother had made dinner. So here, a first action that happened, which is the mother had made the dinner. Mother had made dinner. And then the second action, okay, is I arrived. As you can see in front of you here on the board, if it was clear for you, here we have two actions. Both of them happened and ended, right? So the first action, we use the past perfect to express about it. We're just using the past perfect simple to express about the first action that happened and ended before another action comes and cut it, or took place after it. And both of them, remember, both of them finished. But we're just using the past simple, the past perfect simple, to express that was the first action. For example, I can say that before I arrived, my mother had made dinner, as we're going to show you in many examples in front of you in the board right now. I think this is one usage of the past perfect simple, and that is the most common. This is the main use of it, and that's what we're going to concentrate on today. We're going to concentrate on the usage of it, which is an action finished before a past action.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as you can see here, as the three examples that I put on the board, these three tenses, we call them like narrative tenses because we use them to talk about things, to narrate things that happened in the past. This one, and this one. All these things are finished.
Yes.
They all happened in the past. The difference is that if you use the past simple in all, in both verbs, that means that the actions happened successively, one after the other.
Yes.
I arrived first, then my mother made dinner after. When I arrived home, my mother was making dinner. Of course, this is continuous.
Yes.
Always when we see the ing, that means that the action is continuous.
Yep.
And we talked about, I think that we talked about the use of the past continuous, and we said that we use it with the past simple to show that an action was happening before an action interrupted it. There was an interruption.
Yes.
So here, I was, like my mother was making dinner, but it's the first thing that was happening and it was continuous. Before I arrived home and I interrupted the action of making dinner. This is the same thing for the past perfect. We have two actions. The first one, as we said, we use the past perfect simple to talk about a past action that happened before another one.
Yes.
So the past perfect is this, which is had made. It means that this action happened before
that action.
Before arriving, regardless of its position in the sentence here. It comes second in the sentence, like this one here. the was making comes second in the in its position, yet it is the first action that took place here. The same thing here. Had made was the first action that took place before I arrived home.
Yeah.
Happened, finished. So my mother finished making dinner. This is the difference between this and this. Yeah. When I arrived home, my mother was making dinner. Was still making dinner.
Still making.
She was not finished yet.
Yes.
But here, when I arrived, my mother was done. She finished making dinner. Now you can tell us about the form, because I think that the form is easy.
So easy. Yeah. Talking about the past perfect simple. Talking about the past perfect simple form here. Maybe I'm going to write full sentence.
On top now, or you can stand up.
No.
Or you can write these things, but leave the tenses because we're going to need them. You don't want to stand up.
No. Alright, so here I'm going to tell you about the form, the formation of the past perfect simple. Okay, it is, as you can see. Can you give me an example, mister?
For example, I had the example that I had my mother had made dinner.
My mother had made dinner before I came. Okay, so it's apparently that here we have two actions in the sentence in front of you here. The first one, with the first action which has happened, we use the past perfect simple, okay, to express about it, which is the first one, my mother had made, and that's the form of the formation of the past perfect simple is you're going to use whole pronouns, whole subject pronouns, I, you, he, she, it, we, they, and the plural and singular nouns, okay, with the helping verb or the auxiliary verb of the past perfect simple, which is had. So I'm going to use whole of them with had. So had plus the PP, the past participle of the tense.
Yes.
So all of the verbs. So for example, it's going to be had plus the PP, and it is so easy. And of course, you know here it's here we're using the past simple tense, okay, which is the second form, the past form of the verb come. So come is an irregular verb, as we showed before. It's going to be came and come. So we're using the second of that. So this is only just the formation of that. So you're going to use the auxiliary verb had plus the PP, the past participle of the verb. And we maybe now remember that we have shown that it is so important for you to learn the irregular verbs, because they are so important for you to know, and they're not many. There are just 200 verbs. You should memorize them, because if you miss them, you're not going to be understood, as we showed before in the video, in the previous videos. So this is the formation of that. Again, you're going to use the subject, okay, plus had plus PP. That's it. Of course, this is in the positive form. That's in the positive form. I'd like you just to give me more examples of you give me sentences of your own using the past perfect simple. Even if it wasn't true, just share us your comments, share us, tell us if it's easy for you so far or not easy, if you have a difficulty, and we can make it more clear for you, because we're here for you and you only here. So we're just waiting for your sentences. For examples, you can give us examples about yourself. Yeah.
And we focused, if you remember, we focused on the past participle because it is important in both making the perfect and the passive. Perfect and the passive. What you see here, this made here, because made is the past participle of verb make.
Yes.
Make is both is made both in the past simple and the past participle here. And we said that we can give numbers like 1, 2, and 3, and we use the third form.
Yes.
That's the third, the past participle.
Mm-hmm.
So this made here is this one here, the past participle of verb make. I saw other examples. We gave examples. We gave examples with regular verbs like live. Just add ed. You say lived, lived. So we have no problem with regular verbs. But verbs like see, they change. Call them irregular verbs. Say saw, and the past participle becomes seen.
Yes.
So for example, you say. You, for example, you come to me and you say, I said thank you yesterday, for example. I said, you came to me and you say, I said, or because you say, I gave, for example, I gave my friend a present. I gave my friend a present. I ask you this.
Yeah.
I can ask you this. I can say, why did you give him a present?
Yeah.
See, because he had helped me a lot. He had helped. This is the past perfect. And I'm showing you here that this happened before this.
Yeah.
This happened, the action of helping happened before I gave my friend a present. I gave him a present afterwards.
Alright, maybe we have some comments. Can you read them, please? Yeah.
Number 1, past perfect plus before plus past indefinite tense.
Let's see.
Example, the patient had died before the doctor came.
Yeah, that's a good example. Here we have
past
indefinite tense
plus after
past perfect tense. You say
the patient died after. That's very good. Yes.
We have star here. We have star had learned English when her friend called her. Okay, that's a good example.
The action of learning star is continuous. You can say she had been learning. That is the past perfect continuous. She had been learning English when her friend called her, and use when here to show that the action was interrupted.
Yeah,
very good. Yes.
Alright.
I think, as I told you, that there's no, as we said before about the present perfect continuous, there's not much to say about it because it's easy in terms of form, in terms of uses. The same thing can be said about the past perfect. It's easy, as you can see. So now I think we move to to talk about the passive voice. I think we can give you an idea about it. Just a quick overview about the passive voice, because I think as I recall, some people asked for it. They asked for the passive voice. Yes. The passive voice is easy.
Alright, so right now we're moving to talk about the passive voice, and as you know, every tense has a passive form of it. We tend to use the passive, okay, because we do not know who's the doer of the action itself. So this is the first case. Either you do not know who is the doer of the action, okay, or it is not important to know it, because you only just concentrate on the action itself, not the doer of that action, or not the subject of it. For example, if I'm going to talk about the present simple here, I can say that I can say what?
I bake a cake.
Yeah, I bake a cake every Friday. You can say so. This is a present simple tense. I bake a cake every Friday. So this is the present simple tense. And it's so easy tense. We've been talking about it before. As you can see here, the subject is known, which is I. So I am the doer. I am the person who baked the cake or who baked the cake every Friday. So you know who is the subject. But if you want to make it passive, if you just want to make it unknown, alright? So you gotta start with the object of the sentence. For example, here we have I is the subject and bake is and bake is the verb, and we have a cake is an object. So what we're just going to do, we're just gonna start with the object.
You have got to point out the verb first. It helps
and which
you.
tense is that? Yeah.
Because the verb here, the verb bake has two. Anyway, the verb is preceded by a subject and is followed by an object. Of course, this is a direct object.
Yeah.
So I bake a cake every Friday. What comes after, like every Friday, there is an adverbial. Every Friday, it's an adverbial. We can move it as we like, and mainly we keep it at the end of the sentence. So the sentence, as we said, we can give these items, we can give them numbers, as we said. We can number this 1, and this 2, and this 3. The 1, 2, 3 becomes 3, 2, 1 in the passive voice. And remember this, keep this in mind. In the passive voice, this is the active. This is the active voice. Active. The subject here is called the agent, or we call it also the doer here, or is the experiencer. The subject here is the doer of the action of baking. So it is active. Active means it acts. It does the action. Cake here is a theme, or is a patient. We could call it a receiver. So the cake here receives the action. The doer here is I. So as Mr. Majid just mentioned to you, if the cake here, or the action of making cake, is more important than the doer, or for example, you just came home and you find a cake on the table, and you don't know who's the maker, and you want to make a sentence, we don't know who made it, the sentence has to be made in the passive here. The passive, as we said, we have 3, 2, 1, it becomes 3, we have 1, 2, 3, becomes in order, the order changes to the other way, it becomes 3, 2, 1. And here this 2 is the pivot, it is the center of the passive sentence. You always use verb to be, always use verb to be plus what? Plus the past participle of the main verb of this sentence. Bake is a regular verb. It's a regular verb. So the infinitive is bake, the base form. The past is baked. And the past participle is what? As I told you about the regular verbs, we don't have a problem. It remains the same, baked. So the order of the chain of the sentence changes. Number 3 comes at the beginning. So I say a cake. A cake. A cake. What tense is the verb here?
Well, I think this is the present simple tense.
So we use verb to be.
Yeah, we're going to use the present simple form of verb be, which is amr is of course, according to the new subject that we have here in the sentence, which is a cake.
Yes.
So cake is a singular noun, right? So it takes, so that's why it takes is. So I'm gonna say that a cake is
plus what?
And plus the past participle of the main verb in the sentence, which is bake, is going to be baked. So a cake is baked. And you can stop here.
You can stop here.
Yeah, you can stop here if you do not need to mention about the doer, or you can mention it by saying by and by. Yeah, it is optional. You can use it or not. You can add it or not. You can say yeah. Yeah. So you can say as a full sentence in front of you, as Mr. Ahmed showed to you how to format So it is going to be a cake is baked by May, or a cake is baked every Friday by May.
Yes.
Yeah, as exactly we have here an
Shahid,
example.
yes.
Yes, Shahid. We have here a cake is baked by May. Yeah, that's perfect. We just wanted to clarify about the passive, because a lot of our students have, or a lot of our viewers have, they have been asking about it more than once.
Yeah. And just to, so that because a lot of students confuse it, they think that this is the object here.
Yeah.
A cake is the subject of the sentence.
Yes.
This is its function. It is the subject. Now
Yeah.
here, the subject becomes the object of the sentence.
Yes.
It is the subject. And the verb is this here. Is
Yes.
baked.
Baked.
And me is the object.
Yeah.
But here the subject is not the doer, it is the receiver.
Yes.
So it receives, it doesn't act.
Mhm.
This is why we call it the passive. Passive means do nothing. You just, like when you say a person is passive, means that they sit and do nothing. They just
Yeah.
don't act out.
Yes.
Not like an active person, they act. It's the same. So here the subject is the receiver.
Yes.
That's it. It's easy, as you can see. We're going to give you examples with other tenses to see that it's quite easy.
Yes.
Then we're going to give you, we're going to ask you to turn passive sentences into active, yes, or vice versa.
Alright. So right now we're just going to give, or we're gonna speak about another tense. And by the way, it is so important for you to indicate or to know which tense is used in the active sentence you have. Because according to the verb, or according to the tense, you're going to form the passive voice of that tense. Because they differ from each and all of them, they differ from each other. So here we're just going to give another example about using the present continuous tense.
We're going to give the same sentence and just like we're going to say, instead of I bake, we're going to use the present continuous, let's say.
Yeah, present continuous tense, which is I am baking a cake.
Yeah,
I'm baking a cake right now.
Yeah,
if you remember, you can use the word now as a keyword to show the usage of the present continuous tense. So yeah, we have an example here, as Mr. Ahmed showed you. It's just going to point out what's the subject or who's the subject and the verb. And of course, as I told you just a moment ago, you have to recognize, you have to indicate or point out the tense, which tense we are using in that sentence in front of you. So here we have I am baking a cake. So it is verb be plus the main verb plus ing. I think this is the present continuous tense. So if I want to make it,
we'd like you to make it. We'd like you to turn it into the passive.
Yeah, I would like to make it in a passive. So I'm going to start with, as Mr. Ahmed pointed out here, we have 1, 2, 3, the subject, the verb, and an object. So I'm going to start with the object of that sentence, which is a cake, and it's followed by verb to be in the past, so and in the present. I'm sorry. So it's going to be a bake is, a cake is, and here because with am is on the present continuous tense, I'm going to add the verb plus ing, which is the verb be. So it's going to be is being. So a cake is being.
Excellent.
Yep. So it's going to be a cake is being, and you're going to add the PP or the past participle of the main verb that you have here, which is bake, is going to be baked. So a cake is being baked now by me. You can say so. A cake is being baked now or at the moment, or you can stop here if you do not need to show who is the doer of it. So here we have a subject, a verb, and that is a complete sentence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now we're going to move to another example.
Yeah.
Now we're going to ask you please to give us, let's give an example of the future. But use will. Let's use will.
Yeah, okay. So the student is going to be, I will bake a cake. I will bake a cake tomorrow.
Yeah.
So this is an action which is going to happen tomorrow, so that we're going to use the future simple.
Yeah, we'd like you to give us the,
That's the voice of that.
That's fine. The present perfect of verb to be is is,
Yep.
and are. The past of it is, the present perfect is, as we said, is, are. And just you add be and you add ing, you say am being or is being or are being. Then the future is going to be with will is going to be will be. Plus, then you add the past participle here of the main verb of the sentence that we have as an example there. So I will bake a cake. Can you please turn it into the passive? The cake will be...
Cake will be baked by me, yes.
Excellent.
Thank you, excellent Shahid.
Very good, yes. Very good, yes. So now we're going to move on to the next. Let's move to the past.
Yeah, so I just wanna point out something. Yeah, maybe if you noticed that here we're going to use the form of be, okay, according to the tense we're using the main sentence, the active sentence that we have. For example, in the present simple, we're going to use the verb be, which is either am or is or are, according to the subject that you're using it. Just the verb be plus the PP, the past participle, in the present simple. And in the present continuous tense, you're going to use the be, the form be, plus the main verb to be, plus an ing, which is expressing the continuity of an action, but in a passive voice. And also for the next one, they have the auxiliary or the future tense, I mean, the auxiliary verb is going to be verb well, as an auxiliary verb, but you're going to use the main verb be with it. So it's going to be in the base form, which is will be. So it is all about verb be in its different forms of the tenses. So it's so easy because a lot of students are being confused about the formation of it. I think it is just it's so easy. You just have to understand what it's all about. It is all about verb to be in different forms according to the tense that you're using in a sentence.
Yeah, we're going to give them the numbers that we have here. This is number one.
Yeah, that's number one, and that's number
present
two, the present continuous tense, and that's the future simple, but in the passive voice.
So now we move to the past. Simply just I baked a cake yesterday.
Yeah.
That is number three. That is the past. Of course,
Yeah.
the past simply you all know it. That is the past simple verb to be is was and were. Okay, can you please now, can you give us the past, or can you give us the passive?
Yeah, the passive voice of that sentence. I baked a cake yesterday, so who can give me the passive form of that sentence? And
as change this here.
Yeah,
we can use another person.
I hope so.
Let's say star.
Yes.
Okay, this one is star.
All right. So Star baked a cake. Star baked a cake yesterday. So what do you think? How am I going to make it turn into the passive voice? And as you can see in front of you in the board, we're going to use was or were according to the subject, of course. So pay attention that which subject you're dealing with, because they differ. So if you're going to use a star, for example, so as a subject, or the new subject of the sentence is going to be a cake, because we're starting with number 3 here, which is the object. So I'm gonna say what? So can you give us the answer, please? Here we have Star baked a cake yesterday. We need you to make a passive.
Yes.
It is so easy as we just show you beforehand. Either was or were plus the PP of the main verb that we have here.
Yes, can you write, can you type down the
give us your feedback, give us a comment. I'm not seeing any comments here on the screen.
Go ahead, start. This is about you.
Yeah.
Star baked cake, that is in the past. Of course we want to use this was plus the past participle of that baked. So
Yes.
it was baked. So the sentence is going to be
Huh?
a cake.
Yeah. Sure, we have the cake.
We use
It's going to be
past.
was.
A cake was.
Yeah. A
baked.
cake was baked.
Yes.
A cake was baked yesterday. I know, can you stop? Of course, it is the doer of the action is not important or is unknown. So that's why we're using the passive voice. Well, is it possible to change into passive? I'd like to be a teacher.
It is not. It is not. Let me tell you why. Because the main verb in this sentence is verb to be.
Yes.
I would like to, this is just an auxiliary verb. I would like to be. And verb to be here is the, I would like is just a model verb. The main verb is verb to be. Most linking verbs cannot be turned into the passive. You say, for example, I am happy. You cannot say I am a teacher. You cannot say, and a teacher here is not an object. Like here when we talk about the passive voice, we talk about transitive verbs. Transitive verbs. For example, I bake a cake. Verb bake here is transitive. It needs an object.
Yes.
But the sentence that he gave, that is not an object.
Yeah. There's no object in the sentence in front of you.
Yes.
So that's why
It is a compliment.
Yeah.
Like I am a teacher.
Yes.
I would like to be a teacher. Teacher here is a compliment. So we don't turn it into the passive. It's impossible. Julie, hello. So.
All right.
Yes. So we're going to move to the past continuous. Let's say.
Yeah.
Past continuous, of course, we use was
Was.
and were the same.
Were.
And verb
Being.
like this. Yeah. Just like this.
Yeah.
Instead of this, we say was and were being.
Yes.
The ing. So let's say I was baking.
Baking.
I was baking. I was baking a cake.
Yeah.
I was baking a cake. Can you turn it into the passive? It's easy. It's easy. Can you get it? Yes, Shahid, you're welcome. Now, can you turn it into the passive? This one here. I was baking a cake. I was baking a cake when my phone rang. What is it going to be?
Don't know if you can see the students here. We have the students in front of you. I was baking a cake. I was baking a cake.
Yes.
We needed to be in the passive. We have Shahid. Yeah. A cake was being baked by me. Thank you so much. Excellent.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Cake was
Was being
plus verb
baked.
in the past participle. Baked.
Yes.
This is the fifth.
Yeah.
And we move to the sixth. That is the past continuous. Now that is the fifth. Now the sixth is the present.
Yeah, present perfect simple. That we've been talking about her today, and I think you still remember the formation of it. I mean in the active voice. So you're going to be the subject plus had plus the PP of the verb.
Yeah. And
So it's going to be.
verb to be is an irregular verb.
Yeah.
And the past simple of it is was and were.
Yeah.
And the past participle is
It's going to be been or been.
been.
So yeah. So you can say
Been.
present perfect. Yeah, not the past.
It's the present perfect.
Present. Yeah.
So here, for example, I have made a cake. I have baked. I have baked a cake. What is it going to be in the passive? It's the same. You just reverse the sentence.
It is good to see you here, honorable teachers. Thank you so much. We're so happy to see you here too.
Yeah, we'd like you, please, we'd like you to turn this sentence here into the passive. We have, I have baked a cake. It is in the present perfect. So we talked about the present perfect. We talked, in fact, about all these tenses, just to lay the ground for you. I have baked a cake.
So here I think that Shahid here, he has given us the answer. Active, I have baked a cake. In the passive other is going to be a cake has been baked by me. Excellent.
Excellent, yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. Here, and I'd like to thank you because you've given your attention to, you've been aware of the new subject of the sentence which we have here, which is a cake. It is singular, so that's why we're using has with it. So it's going to be a cake has been baked by me.
And giving feedback shows that you understand what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Could you make it more visible, clearly? Oh, sure, yes. We're going to try, yes, we're going to make it clearer. We're going to keep it this way, we're going to make it bigger for you. Here, we're going to move to the seventh, I think. To the seventh, which is, this came up because I'm speaking to myself. Okay, the seventh, which is the present perfect continuous. Present perfect continuous. The present perfect always use have and has. Here we just have the continuity. You say have. What is it going to be?
Been.
Always use been, and then
And the verb plus ing is going to be have been baked or no.
have been.
So this is in the passive.
This is have been baked.
Been.
It's been. So we need the continuous of verb to be. The present, this is the present perfect of verb to be. So here, the same example, but I have been,
Is that bigger?
I have been baking. This is bigger. It's clear and clean. I've been baking a cake. I've been baking a cake. What is it going to be in the passive? The verb is all this. This is a phrasal verb.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been baking. This is the predicate here. Have been baking. You're going to use this. Either have been plus the past participle of the main verb, who has been being.
So where's the sentence again? It is.
I have been baking.
Yeah. I've been baking a cake. I've been baking a cake. So this is, as you can see, this is an active sentence. It's active. How did I know? Because I know who is the doer of the action. I know who is the subject. It is me. Alright. So I need to make it passive. As you can see here, we have
Number 3 is this. Just
Yeah.
Here.
we're going to make it passive. This part is not shown.
Doesn't show on the board. I think it is clear. Just move a little. Yes. Can you give us the answers? Can you give us the answer? I've been making a cake, or I've been baking a cake. I've been baking a cake.
So it is going to be.
Okay, let's give the answer. It is going to be a cake has been, and then we're going to use verb to be here, which is being, the present perfect of verb to be. So it's quite a little long and a little complicated. You're going to say a cake has been being baked. It's like making a tongue twister.
Yeah.
So cake has been being baked. A cake has been being baked.
And I think this is not used a lot.
This is not common.
Yeah, not common. Not a lot of people using it because this is a kind of a long and just a kind of a complicated form of the tenses, which is going to be, as Mr. Ahmed told you here, is going to be a cake has been being baked. It is not familiar, not many people know about it, but it is direct formation of the present perfect continuous but in a passive voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're not going to use this one here, we're just going to remove it because as we said, so we're just going to move to the eighth. The eighth is easier.
Yeah, you've got is clear.
Is not clear. The board is not clear.
Of course it is not.
That's alright, that's okay. I think
Alright. A cake has been being baked by me. Yeah, thank you.
very good.
Very good start.
So we're just going to move to the eighth, which is just the past perfect.
Past perfect simple.
Just talked about it.
Yeah.
The past perfect of verb to be is had.
Going to be had plus PP or yeah. That's that.
Participle verb to be had been.
Yeah.
So now if I say I had baked, now we're going to use this here. No being here, no have, it's the past, it's going to be I had baked a cake. I had baked a cake and I had burnt it before my mother came home.
Yeah.
So can you turn this into the passive? Very good, yes.
Let us. Shamir,
Additions.
dishes have been. Yeah, the dishes. You should save that. The
Very
dishes
good.
have been washed by me. Okay. Lean and brief.
Being is the present is the continuous. Of course, ing. Whenever you have ing, that means that the action is continuous. So this, we use this first when the main verb in the active is in the present continuous. Like I am baking a cake. I am baking a cake in the passive voice becomes a cake is being baked. It means that the action is continuous. For example, I'm sitting in the living room watching TV and I smell. For example, a delicious smell, and I say, a cake is being baked. I don't know by who.
I don't know who's cooking it.
Yes, but I just say the cake is made. The cake is being made. So I use this to show that the action is continuous. We talked about tenses. The same thing here. Present continuous, past continuous. Being. Ing shows the continuity. Yes, star, the subject is a cake, so has been. Very good, yes. So it is going to be, you keep it here, keep it as it is. Not has been, but had been.
Had been with all the subject, as I told you from the beginning of the video, you're going to use whole subject, the different subject pronouns with the same helping or auxiliary verb had.
Yes.
So it's going to be I had, you had, he, she had. Singular pronouns had. Every pronoun you're going to use it with had plus PP. That's it. So a cake had been baked by me. Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
Excellent. That was today's.
Very good, yes.
Yeah.
So I think now we're going to give him some
Somewhat.
exercises to do, or some sentences, and we'll ask you to turn them into the passive.
Yeah, alright. So there's okay. Good.
We're going to write some on the board.
Of
So
course.
we're going to erase all of this.
I hope so.
I hope that you got everything here. This is, we said that in the, just to sum it up.
Yeah.
We always use the verb to be with the passive voice. Always verb to be plus the verb that you have in the main sentence, in the active sentence, which is the main verb here, which is baked.
Yeah.
Had here is an auxiliary verb. So you look for the helping verb here, or the main verb, bake. Use verb to be always in the passive voice. We require verb to be. Then the past participle of the main verb, bake here. So here, if you have the present simple, use verb to be as this. This is continuous, present continuous. This is the future simple. This is the past simple, the past continuous, the present perfect, and the past perfect. So this is verb to be, and just you add and as we said, you reverse. You bring the object of the active sentence, you bring it to the beginning of the sentence, and then you put the verb to be and the past participle. Then you can say by, or you can just omit it as you like.
Alright.
So now we're going to give you some examples, and we'd like you to turn them into the passive. We're going to keep this just to help you out. What's the first example?
Okay, well, here in front of us we have some sentences we're going to give you as an example, alright, just to make them passive. So I can choose just an easy one to love with, to start with. So here we have Anna loves David.
Very good, yes.
Yeah, Anna loves David. Yeah, so at first, yeah, Anna loves David. So at first, you just pay attention to which tense we're using, and who's the subject, who's the verb, who's the object, or which is the object. So we're going to, if you've been able to know, and that's so easy by the way, so you're going to put them in order or reorder them again. Here we have the subject is Anna, and the verb loves, and David is an object.
Yes, and we call it we call Anna and we call this an active sentence.
Yeah, this is an active.
Anna is the doer, is active, she acts out.
Yeah.
She's the one who does the action of loving.
Yeah.
She's the verb, yeah.
So of course at first you should indicate the tense that we use in here. Yes. The tense is so important. From the tense you're going to know. Anna loves David. This is the same sentence.
Can you turn it into the passive?
We need to make it passive using the tense, the same form of the tense that we're using. So you have to pay attention to the form, or we should really know which tense we're using here, that sentence. And it is so simple. It is so easy. Anna loves David. So it was going to be passive. We need to make them passive, so it is so easy. Maybe Mr. Ahmed is helping you a lot here in the board. As you can see, he has number of them. Number one is the subject Anna, number two the verb, which is loves, and three is the object. So if you're going to make them passive, you're going to start with number three first, which is the object. So how are you going to make it? David. Hey, you're missing style, you're missing the verb to be.
Always verb to be.
Yeah, you have to use verb to be first. So a verb to be in the present is going to be either am or is or are. Of course it differs according to the subject, the new subject that we're using here in that sentence, which is going to be David. So David is going to be what?
Present simple.
Yeah. So David is going to be is. So David is loved by Anna.
Very good, yes. So I think we can give you examples.
Yeah,
we might
there are many examples. You can, maybe we're going to give them in the comments. Yeah.
Ran out of time.
Yeah.
So we might give you examples next time.
Yep.
To do. We can do some, and we can check them together next time. So
unfortunately we just ran out of time and we need really to go right now. So it has been a pleasure for me to be in front of you again, me and with Mr. Ahmed. Today we've been dealing with the past perfect simple, and also we've been discussing the passive voice of many tenses, or maybe the whole tenses that we've been covering. And they are so easy, by the way, for you to learn and for you to use and for you to practice. Please, we need you to practice each and everything that you learn, because if you're not practicing it, you're going to lose them a lot.
Very good.
So yeah. Anyway, so maybe we're going to say goodbye right now.
Goodbye to you. We hope that you got the passive voice. You just got the idea. Next time we're going to check together.
Inshallah.
And see you next time.
Alright.
Farewell. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you for watching. See you next time.